My name is Lisa. I'm 37, and until today, I believed I understood my marriage. It was a Wednesday evening, quiet yet charged with an unnameable tension. The lingering scent of garlic and tomato sauce hung heavy in the kitchen, an aroma that had once signified warmth and togetherness. Little now did I know that the laughter drifting in from the back porch was setting a stage for the unraveling of my world. Mark's voice echoed cheerfully, mingling with the third chorus of crickets that had grown more active as the dusk deepened. He was celebrating a life that I believed we were building together, until that night. With a heart heavy with both love and apprehension, I approached his laptop sitting open on our kitchen table, a place where so much of our life had unfolded together. The cool touch of the keys sent a shiver up my spine as I positioned my fingers, hesitating momentarily. The screen flickered to life, illuminating my face with an uncomfortably harsh glow against the soft shadows of our home. I had promised myself that I would take the initiative to mend our relationship. Mark had been distant for weeks, and I thought perhaps this digital bridge, an avenue for communication I could master, might help rekindle our lost connection. As I navigated through the ocean of icons, every click felt weighted, each second thickening as though suspended in time. Then my heart dropped. The title of an email chain caught my eye, sending an electric jolt of recognition through me. "Plans for the future," it read. I knew I shouldn't pry, I should close the laptop and walk away, but curiosity is a powerful force, and it whispered insistently in my ear. I leaned in closer, my heart racing as I opened the message. What I found was a tapestry of betrayal, woven delicately between rows of text. "Lisa is too trusting. Once we get her to sign over control, we will secure everything," I read, disbelief washing over me like an icy tide. My stomach tightened like a vice and the room began to swirl. The laughter from the porch sounded far away, now transformed into an eerie soundtrack underscoring the sheer horror of what I was uncovering. It was a conversation strikingly clear in its intentions, a blueprint of my ruin, Mark and Sarah, my husband and my sister. They had turned against me as a partnership of enemies lurking behind the facade of family loyalty. I gasped, feeling the heat of betrayal flush through me, my fingers trembling as I scrolled down the thread. Each line struck like a whip. The fabric of my life was fraying before my eyes. They had woven plans to manipulate not just my finances, but every piece of my existence that had been shared with intimacy and trust. My mind flashed back to all the nights I had supported Mark's ambitions, sacrificing my own career, burying my dreams underneath the weight of false promises. I had severed ties with my family, believing that love was enough to shield us from outside doubts. "What have I done?" I murmured, the question slipping out in a breathless whisper. The quilt of despair wrapped tightly around my heart as I pressed a hand to my mouth, fighting against the surge of emotions threatening to break through. Images of family dinners over the years flitted through my mind, gatherings filled with laughter and joy now tainted with deceit. Those moments, once shared with love, became bitter memories, ghostly impressions of betrayal lurking just beneath the surface. Suddenly, the laughter from the porch became suffocating, a cruel taunt reminding me of everything I had lost. Here he was, the man I had devoted my life to, not just escaping the repercussions of his lies, but thriving in the very destructiveness he had planted in my heart. My mind swirled with all the little signs I had ignored, dismissing my instincts while convincing myself that our love was unbreakable. How could I have been so naive? He thought betraying me would break me, I whispered, a flicker of strength igniting within me. But he underestimated the strength of a woman scorned. The words settled heavy in the air, grounding me as I allowed the gravity of the situation to wash over me. With each breath, a sense of resolution began to blossom. The flicker of the screen reflected in my tear-filled eyes, illuminating the pain while nurturing the flame of anger that had begun to burn. There would be no reckless outburst. Mark's betrayal was a calculated move, and I would respond with a strategy of my own. I lowered the laptop lid slowly, as if sealing away the demons that had emerged in the digital glow. I wouldn't collapse under the weight of this revelation. I was determined to turn the tide, to regain control not just of my finances but of my life. Passion rose within, igniting a cautious hope that whispered of reclamation. As I glanced around our home, memories lurked in every corner. I would transform that which had been built on deceit into a stronghold of my independence. They may have thought they could manipulate me, but I would become the architect of my own renewal. That night, I lay on the couch, the weight of the world still heavy on my chest. But now, a new burden was being forged, one that was purposeful, deliberate. Soon I would rise from these ashes. It wouldn't be in chaos. It would be methodical, powerful, a true reflection of my womanhood reclaiming its voice amid the mounting shadows of betrayal. The couch felt foreign beneath me, a stark contrast to the sanctuary of our shared bedroom that had held so many promises. I stared at the ceiling, lost in a haze of anger and confusion. The remnants of the past, melancholic memories now entwined with betrayal, echoed around me, each fragment sharper than the last. In the dim light of the living room, everything was both familiar and haunting. I could almost smell the fragrance of freshly baked cookies from our kitchen, a treat I had made for Mark last month in an attempt to rekindle the warmth between us. How naive I had been, believing that a sprinkle of sweetness could cover the cracks that had begun to form. Images flitted through my mind. My graduation day nearly 2 decades ago, a time filled with dreams and aspirations. I had stood there in my cap and gown, a beacon of hope, ready to launch into a world where I could be anything I wanted. But standing there, I made the choice to sacrifice my ambition for love, a choice I believed would fortify our bond. Mark was poised for his own climb. I didn't just fall in love with him, I fell in love with the vision we created together. In those early years, I remember the late-night study sessions where we sat at the kitchen table, coffee cups in hand, sharing whispered ambitions and laughter. I often dreamt out loud, sketching plans of my future career in design, a passion buried beneath the weight of his ascent. Each, "You'll have your chance, Lisa," echoed in my ears, a promise that now reverberated with bitter irony. But as time went by, I began to notice the gaps. Mark's distractions grew, his late nights filled with meetings I wasn't invited to, friends I had never met. Subtle signs of discontent flashed like warning lights, but each time I brushed them aside, convincing myself they were merely shadows, insecurities of my own making. How could I have been so foolish not to see the truth when it was parading in front of me? I drew my knees closer to my chest, curling into the cushions as the tears began to flow freely. Memories of joyful family dinners began to twist into something vile. I could see my mother's laughter, my father's booming baritone teasing at the tales we shared. Happiness painted our gatherings until every moment was butchered by the realization that was now lurking beneath the surface. Every toast raised to Mark now felt like a dagger aimed at my heart, a mockery of our union. The couch creaked as I shifted, the fabric rough against my skin, echoing my discomfort. I had been exiled from my own home. The bed, once a cocoon of comfort, had become a looming prison, tainted by all the hopes I had wrapped in the warmth of our marriage. Alone in the dark, I felt the sting of isolation sharpen. It seeped into my bones, a chill of despair creeping up my spine. I was trapped between longing for the life I had surrendered and grappling with the betrayal I had just unearthed. But as I lay there, clouds of sadness began to part, revealing a flicker of light, a small but persistent ember of resilience. My fingers absently traced the patterns on the fabric of the couch. As I closed my eyes, I could hear the laughter once more. It twisted in on itself, this haunting recollection of a life I thought we built together. The small joys were tainted by the knowledge of his betrayal, but they still bore a semblance of strength. "Look at us," he would exclaim at the end of a family dinner, beaming with pride for his little family. Little did I know, he was plotting against the very values we had once toasted to. The warmth of our shared past made the betrayal feel even sharper, but within me, the ember began to burn brighter. No longer would I allow Mark to dictate the narrative. I was Lisa Henderson, a woman with dreams that lay dormant yet unfettered. I realized that every sacrifice had indeed been made with love, and it was mine to reclaim. Deep breaths steadied me as I began to think strategically. I visualized every moment lived in devotion, slowly crystallizing into a force that couldn't be ignored. If he thought he could manipulate not only my emotions but my financial future, he had severely underestimated the strength lurking within this body that had once been so willing to bend. With the night deepening around me, I began to plot in earnest. The ember of resilience grew into a flame. I would gather what I needed, piece by piece. Focused on my own thoughts, I contemplated my next steps. Silence had been my prison, but it would soon transform into my ally. I would no longer sit idly by. It was time to flip the script. The isolation I had felt, the exile within my own home, all of it would become fuel for my rebirth. The embers glowed brighter, illuminating the path ahead. I would align those scattered dreams of mine. No longer would I sacrifice my essence on the altar of someone else's greed. It was time to reclaim not only my dignity but my power. As dawn broke on the horizon, casting a soft glow through the window, I felt the shift within myself. There was no going back. I would rise with purpose. The strength I possessed would ignite the fire needed to challenge the deceit that had infiltrated my life. I closed my eyes, feeling the warmth of the sun infuse the room. I would rise, not just as a woman spurned, but as a force to be reckoned with. The next few days unfolded with a new rhythm, one I crafted intentionally. Each morning light, now a herald of strength, filled my lungs with a sense of purpose. I began to plot my course, the map of deception I'd uncovered guiding my steps. I had to gather information, evidence that would fortify my position. I needed to unveil their plans without alerting either of them I was onto their games. The first part of my journey led me back to Mark's laptop, the source of my heartbreak and the key to my empowerment. I settled into the kitchen, that same spot where I once felt warmth and connection, but now it had transformed into a conference room of sorts, my battleground. With my heart pounding in my chest, I reopened the lid. The light flickered on, illuminating my resolve. I soon found myself sifting through the muddle of his files and applications, the cursor hesitating over familiar folders. My hands trembled slightly, but I pressed on, determined. I tested my memory against the web browser history, a digital trace of footsteps he left behind. His emails were a treasure trove, but I knew I needed deeper access. I recalled a name, Katie, an old friend from college, someone I hadn't spoken with in years, working in digital forensics. We had once shared dreams over late-night coffee, and I suddenly felt a strong urge to reach out, rekindling a connection that had grown stale over time. "Hey, Katie," I said softly as I held my phone to my ear, biting my lip nervously. "I hope you're doing well." After some small talk, I turned the conversation to my dilemma, carefully cloaking my words within the guise of concern. "I know this is a stretch, but would you be able to help me with something related to my husband's laptop?" "What kind of help?" Her voice was laced with curiosity, a flicker of encouragement igniting my hope. I explained my predicament while treading lightly. I avoided specific details, but I emphasized my need to recover potentially deleted files that would shed light on his recent behaviors. "I thought I had lost some important documents, but I'm worried it could be more than that," I concluded. Katie's enthusiasm bubbled through the line. "I can totally help you with that. Bring the laptop to my office tomorrow. We'll see what we can dig up." I hung up, feeling a tidal wave of relief wash over me. It was time to take my inquiry further. The following day, armed with the laptop, I drove to Katie's office, the excitement coursing through me as I entered the sleek, tech-heavy workspace. I could feel the energy buzz around me, echoing the determination that surged within. Katie worked methodically, fingers dancing across the keyboard as we chatted. I watched her effortlessly navigate through the intricate world of digital footprints, every keystroke a soft whisper of what was to come. My heart raced with anticipation as I stood over her shoulder, a hawk surveying its territory. Finally, after what felt like lifetimes, she looked up, a smile breaking across her face. "You won't believe what I found." She turned the screen toward me, revealing a series of email exchanges between Mark and Sarah, their words dripping with betrayal, much like that first chain I had discovered. My worst fears affirmed, but this revelation was different. Now I held the power. I had my hands on the truth. I felt both righteous anger and cold fear. "Look at this," Katie pointed, focusing on a message dated just weeks ago. "Sarah's on here discussing how they plan to convince you to sign over control of your joint assets. They think you're oblivious." The walls seemed to close in around me as my heart raced. Each word was another stab to my heart, but it was also a map pointing me to the battleground where I would make my stand. "I have to take screenshots," I whispered, my mind racing with the implications. As I took in the malicious strategies laid out before me, a steely resolve formed. I would gather this evidence permanently, protecting myself against their deceit. Each email revealed not just their plot, but also their underestimation of my strength. Their manipulation would not find a home here. In that small office, I felt empowered. I had pieces of the puzzle, and with each new revelation, my resolve solidified. It was time to act. Every piece of evidence collected would serve as a testament to my strength, my fight against betrayal. Leaving the office, the laptop felt lighter in my bag, a burden now transformed into the tool of my liberation. I couldn't help but smile to myself. It wasn't just about reclaiming what was mine. It was about reclaiming my identity and dignity. Each step I took felt like a march toward justice. In the coming days, I took my time constructing a master plan, plotting the moments of revelation with surgical precision. I made notes, drew diagrams in a notebook, the pages filled with thoughts of how to confront these two people who believed they could pull the wool over my eyes. He thought betraying me would break me, but he underestimated the strength of a woman scorned. The words flowed through my mind as I visualized the confrontation I would orchestrate. I was no longer a woman scorned. I was a woman gearing for battle. Now, the countdown had begun. They had underestimated my capacity for resilience. Soon I would expose their treachery and reclaim everything they sought to steal. I was armed with the truth, and I would see it through to the end. Armed with the evidence of betrayal and a resolve harder than steel, I turned my attention to the next phase of my plan. I would need to stay vigilant and stealthy, observing Mark and Sarah as they wove further into their web of deceit while I quietly layered my strategy upon theirs. At first, it felt like stepping into a darkened theater, my heart a quiet drumbeat beneath the hushed sounds of anticipation. I transformed into an observer, my home, once a sanctuary, now a stage for their grim play. I meticulously noted every glimmer of communication between them. What I lacked in overt conflict, I would make up for in silent cunning. Those early morning hours became battlegrounds where I quietly began to reclaim my territory. Each cup of coffee I brewed for Mark held double meaning, carefully prepared for his taste while simultaneously supporting my facade as the oblivious wife. As I sipped quietly, I concocted ways to corner him into confessing while staging my own innocence. The vibrancy of the coffee contrasted sharply with the bitterness that was beginning to brew inside me. I began to monitor his movements more deliberately. In the gentle hum of a suburban life, I noticed every fumbled phone call, every suspicious late night. On his outings to deal with work, I took careful note, marking days when he returned home later than usual and steeling myself for the excuses he would conjure. In those hours alone, I took refuge in organizing our home, cleaning, creating tidy spaces, nurturing my plants with hands that knew how to heal. Each scrub of the surface brought a quiet calm, a contrast to the chaos swirling within. It was a ritual that grounded me, and each leaf I tended felt like a step toward reclaiming my life. My routine transformed into ground zero. Every afternoon brought the careful return of pieces I had once cast aside. During one particularly quiet evening, Mark received a text message as we sat in the living room, a rare break from his busyness. I feigned interest in the program on television, yet my ears were sharply tuned to his tone. "Uh-huh," he muttered, the dismissive edge sharper than I expected. My heart raced as I counted the seconds before he tucked the phone away. I pretended to be caught in the plot unfolding on the screen, but the words echoed in my mind. It was a moment of a slip, a crack in the facade that offered a glimpse into his hidden world. Every message he composed became a seed sprouting doubt. Who was he truly engaged with? After a quick glance at my own phone, I made a mental note. I would need to probe deeper into his behavior. In the following days, I arranged brief encounters with Sarah under the pretense of rekindling our sisterhood. I approached her with a casual smile, cloaked in feigned innocence. "Is Mark stepping up at work?" I murmured, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear as I watched her reactions closely. Her response was an immediate flush, a flicker of guilt crossing her face, just enough to linger in the air, wrapping around my growing suspicions. I sensed a crack in her confidence, a fracture that glimmered with every question I asked. Their alliance was shaky beneath the surface, and every conversation became a volatile dance I delighted in rehearsing. I even started casually checking shared family accounts, banking data via the apps we used. I was thorough, a meticulous hunter tracking the scent of deceit. With each click, I sought evidence, unraveling trails that led back to my husband's financial dealings. Patterns began to emerge, transactions funneling to blank entities, unexplained withdrawals layered beneath a glossy surface. What had I missed in my trust-filled complacency? It felt overwhelming at times. The insights ignited wary thoughts of all those evenings I had spent thinking it was just work, responsibility. The truth, cold, tangible, clung to my skin. Each find became a stepping stone, something to build upon. I documented everything in my notebook, particularly the small details that Mark would rarely suspect I was watching. I trained myself to remain outwardly calm while inside, the fire burned bright. I immersed myself in details, meticulous sketches mapping out the path forward. Weeks passed, and I collected whispers of their betrayal along with traces of their downfall. A fumble here, a careless remark there, it reflected a connection that grew tenuous as I tightened the noose around their deceit. One evening, after quietly returning from his latest outing, I confronted Mark masquerading as genuine curiosity. "Did you meet with Sarah today?" I asked, rushing to maintain a natural tone. His expression darted, and I felt the tremor in his response. "Just a quick coffee, Lisa," he replied too quickly, eyes shifting away from me. "Nothing to worry about." "No need to worry at all." I let the words settle into the air, pondering the layers of their plans unraveling. The tension waged war within me, both exhilarating and terrifying, but I was not yet ready to strike. With every observation, with every stealthy move, I felt myself building momentum, a silent force gathering strength from the valleys of their treachery. My heart swelled with the fierce belief that reclamation was within my grasp. Every moment spent in patience fed my resolve, wrapping me in a shroud of quiet power. I was no longer just waiting. I was becoming the very storm that would dismantle their grand illusion. And when I struck, it would be with every weapon they had unknowingly provided. The pieces were coming together seamlessly, the tapestry woven tighter into the dawn of my resurgence. I felt it, the balance shifting. The time was approaching, and their judgment day loomed in the distance. The air around me crackled with anticipation, each moment of stillness sharpening my focus. With the evidence of Mark and Sarah's betrayal freshly documented, I meticulously crafted a plan of action. The time for reckoning drew near, and I could feel the momentum building within me. As the day of confrontation approached, I curated a scenario built around our usual family dinner, a seemingly innocent occasion that would mask my true intentions. Everything had to go perfectly, from the aroma of Mark's favorite dishes to the carefully set table adorned with our best silverware. It was vital that I maintained a facade of normalcy, even as tension simmered beneath the surface. "Let's invite Sarah over for dinner," I suggested one afternoon, allowing my voice to remain light and casual. Mark's eyes lit up with enthusiasm, failing to recognize the underlying storm gathering strength around the very suggestion. "I haven't seen her in a while," he said, his endorsement fueling my determination. The evening arrived, and as Sarah stepped through the door, laughter filled the room. Unbeknownst to her, My heart thumped in anticipation. Her casual demeanor almost lulled me into comfort, a poignant reminder of the sisterly bond we used to share, now overshadowed by this tangled web of deception. As dinner progressed, laughter flowed easily, but my thoughts were razor sharp, my mind racing with the choreography of our impending confrontation. I engaged in light banter, pouring wine and encouraging casual conversation, all the while preparing for the moment I would shatter their illusion. Then, with a calculated calm, I introduced the topic. I hope you don't mind, but I took a look at some emails on Mark's laptop, I said, my tone dipped in feigned innocence. The tension in the air shifted dramatically. Mark's face paled and the room fell silent. I struck as they processed my words. Interesting exchanges between you and Sarah. What do you mean? Mark's voice shook slightly. I could feel their discomfort like a palpable thing, swirling between us as I held our secret at bay. Just a little financial advice you've been discussing, I replied sweetly. It seems you both didn't think I'd notice. Sarah's expression shifted, disbelief battling with fear as realizations danced in her eyes. I watched as their confidence wavered. I made a promise to pay attention, I continued, the calmness in my voice belying the whirlwind within me. And now, that promise is leading me straight to the truth. Drawing on my meticulously collected evidence, I pulled out my notebook. Dozens of pages filled with screenshots and notes detailing their betrayal. Let's take a look, shall we? The fear turned thick in the room as I began to detail the emails, each revelation a dagger of truth slicing through their cover stories. The shock in Mark's eyes deepened as he fought to maintain his composure. I could feel my heart quicken with each step closer to justice. "What are you doing?" he asked, his tremors barely hidden beneath an act of bravado. "Exposing you," I replied, a fierce steadiness enveloping my voice. "I refuse to stand by while you manipulate my trust and plunge me into chaos." As I laid out the specifics of their plans, detailed communications and financial trails, their alliance crumbled like a house of cards. Each word poured from my lips like a well-rehearsed script, sweeping away the deceptions they had woven together. The disharmony sharpened as Mark's rage morphed into panic, while Sarah looked to him for guidance, uncertainty clouding her previously confident demeanor. I felt a sensation of liberation swell within me. This moment was mine. No longer bound by their charade, I sensed every victimized breath I inhaled begin to form a potent elixir of empowerment. "We were just trying to help you, Lisa," Mark stammered. "Help by plotting behind my back. This isn't help, it's betrayal." My voice rose, cutting through his defense like lightning. When the silence finally sunk in, I held firm, allowing the gravity of my findings to settle. They were cornered, and I stood unwavering, the truth illuminating the darkness of their deceit. The culmination of my carefully laid plan had unfolded before me, revealing their true colors. As I looked into their faces, I felt my heart swell with righteous strength. This was the moment I had envisioned. The declaration of my dignity returned in a wave of raw power. It was time for them to face the consequences of their actions. I wasn't just fighting for myself, but for every moment I had endured in silence and shame. My reclamation was complete. The room felt charged, heavy with the weight of unspoken truths. Mark's mask of confidence shattered as my words washed over him, twisting his bravado into a desperate plea for salvation. It was a beautiful sight. watching the illusion they had crafted crumble. The moment had come, and I wouldn't hold back. "Lisa, let's not do this right now," he attempted, his voice faltering, the confidence he once wielded now a thin veil clinging to the reality of defeat. "We can talk about this like adults. Maybe it was a misunderstanding." "Misunderstanding?" I interrupted, a chill of disbelief threading through my words. I felt stronger now, the crescendo of my emotions surging towards clarity. "How do you misinterpret a plot to undermine someone you claim to love?" Each question pierced through the tension, striking deep within their complicity. Sarah shifted uncomfortably in her seat as the truth unfolded in a hard embrace. Uncharacteristically silent, she could only watch, her previous bravado fading alongside her borrowed confidence. What had once felt like a sisterly connection now seemed a betrayal. The betrayal of more than just trust. It was a deep fracture in our shared past. "I thought we could work together, plan a future," Mark stammered in a final attempt at manipulation, his desperation clinging to the air like smoke. "You were always busy. I just wanted to lighten your load." "Lighten my load?" The uproar of laughter escaped my lips, almost incredulous. "By planning to take everything I've built? You believed I wouldn't notice the threads of deception woven right under my nose. I was no longer merely a figure of his past, but a force of nature that had risen to reclaim her rightful place. The anger bubbling beneath my facade felt almost energetic, fueling a raw power I hadn't allowed myself to harness until this very moment. Mark's face twisted into resentment. The cruel veneer of his betrayal gathered around him like a shroud. "You think you can scare me? I know people. I could ruin you," he barked, the last remnant of his facade crashing to the floor, a desperate claw in the darkness. The quiet resolve inside me hardened further. "Ruin me? Let's be real, Mark. You're the one teetering on the edge, grasping for control with sweat pooling on your brow." I held his gaze firmly, my insides aflame with righteous indignation, the fear I had felt now gone. Instead, it transformed into a fierce determination that felt like reclaiming a long-lost identity. With surgical precision, I continued to lay out the pieces of their betrayal, financial transactions, hidden communication. "You thought you could pull the wool over my eyes, that I'd crumble when faced with the truth. You gravely underestimated my resilience. What had once seemed like a simple dinner turned into a battleground, and I stood firmly with the weapon of truth at my side." The air thickened with the tension of unraveling realities, and as Mark's face paled, I caught a fleeting glimpse of the once confident man reduced to a trembling mess. "You're a selfish coward," he shouted, his defensiveness useless against the onslaught of revelations I had built over the weeks. "You think you can just walk away with everything?" "Everything," I echoed back, a unifying thread of clarity weaving through my mind. "What was once ours has now become your illusion. If the illusion falls, it's only because you built it on the foundation of deceit." Defiant, Sarah finally broke her silence, surprising us both. "Mark, we have to," she began, but I silenced her with my steady gaze. The ire within me moved like a river raging toward their reckoning. "It's too late, Sarah," I said, my voice steady. "You facilitated this betrayal, wrapped your loyalties in lies. You thought I wouldn't find out, but here we are. You thought you could escape the consequences, but justice is unyielding." With those words, the deluge of their betrayal crashed heavily around us. The silence that followed was palpable, their fears now alive in the room, weaving together my triumph. Mark's bravado eroded further as I firmly grasped the notebook, clutching the evidence of their demise. I could feel my heart thrumming, not with fear, but with power, as I surveyed the destruction of their duplicity. I was no longer the woman who stood by in silence and shame, no longer incapable of taking a stand. With a final look of triumph over their crumbling schemes, I felt clarity wash over me. I won't let you strip me of my identity, nor will I allow your betrayal to define my worth. The truth has spoken. Now it's your turn to face it. Mark's face went pale, and I could almost hear the gears in his mind grinding as they processed the reality of their demise. He began to realize the magnitude of the mistake they had made in underestimating me. I had evolved. I had become more than they had bargained for. With every ounce of composure within me, I stepped toward the door, leaving the tumult of their downfall wrapping around them like a vice. The game was over, and they were left to grapple with their own making, broken, exposed, and powerless. As I stepped out of the house, the weight of my confrontation hung in the air like smoke, the clarity of my actions buoying my spirit, even as shards of silenced panic echoed behind me. I had chosen liberation over despair, dignity over deceit, and every step away from their clutches was filled with the crisp breath of newfound freedom. The world outside felt vibrant, alive with possibilities. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue on everything it touched, embodying the promise of hope and renewal. Each breath filled my lungs with strength, a stark contrast to the stifling silence I had left behind. I had emerged from my exile, stripped of the burdens Mark had placed upon me. I inhaled deeply, leaning against the cool metal of my car as memories surged. The laughter, the shared dreams, tainted now by the revelation of betrayal. Somehow, the knowledge of deceit made the beautiful moments bittersweet, yet they remained mine, artifacts of resilience that I would not allow to be overshadowed. I would carry them with me, transformed and tempered by the fire of truth. Over the following weeks, I immersed myself in reclaiming my life. Each morning, I would wake early, sunlight streaming through my bedroom window, its warmth resuscitating me from the shadows of my past. I filled my days with the simple pleasures I had neglected, tending to the garden, re-engaging with old friends, nibbling away at my goals with persistent determination. I began painting again, vibrant strokes of color splashing the canvas, each brushstroke a cathartic release of emotion, a celebration of my rebirth. I found comfort in the rhythms of daily life, rediscovering the woman I had almost lost. On weekends, I indulged in Sunday brunches with friends, laughter mingling with the clinking of glasses. Each gathering felt like an act of reclamation. I shared stories, some about my struggles, wrapped in courage, and felt supported and uplifted instead of marginalized and alone. I sought counseling to navigate the emotional scars left by Mark's betrayal and Sarah's betrayal. The therapist validated my experiences, allowing me the space to process and heal. I embraced the sessions with an open heart, learning to forgive myself for the trust I had lost in my own judgment. Time flowed steadily, slowly transitioning my anger into understanding. It became a healing balm, nurturing the wounds of my heart. As I began to shift my perspective, I decided to take control of my finances, an area Mark had manipulated throughout our marriage. I sought out a financial advisor and dove headfirst into understanding investments, savings, and planning for my future. Knowledge became my ally. I learned to navigate the complexities of weighty decisions, transforming the fear of uncertainty into a calculated approach to securing my independence. One day, as I was poring over budget sheets, I received a call from a potential new client interested in my marketing services, a freelance opportunity I wouldn't have dared to pursue before. A surge of exhilaration rushed through me. I felt alive and vibrant, ready to dive into a project that was entirely mine. I agreed to the meeting, excited by the thought of shaping my career on my terms. When the day of the meeting arrived, I walked into the cafe, the aroma of fresh coffee swirling around me. I felt a wave of confidence wash over me as I shook hands with the client, exchanging pleasantries and ideas. As we spoke, excitement bubbled within me. The realization that I was finally forging my own path filled me with clarity. This was who I was meant to be: intelligent, capable, and fiercely independent. In time, I gathered my strength to face the closure of the past. I took a moment to reflect on my journey, on the tapestry woven from betrayal that I had transformed into resilience. I wrote Mark a letter, one final attempt to express my feelings, not for closure, but to remind myself of the strength I had nurtured through such heartache. As I move forward, I leave behind what was. I penned in the letter, "You may have tried to destroy my sense of self, but the truth has freed me. It reminds me that I am valuable beyond your deceit." I sealed the letter and buried it in a small box beneath my garden, a symbolic letting go of the pain that had once bound me in darkness. I felt lighter, each moment prompting me forward. I could finally breathe deeply again, unshackled from the weight of hurt. Days turned to weeks, and I found comfort in solitude. I embraced the stillness, listening to my heart's whispers without the noise of betrayal echoing. I started traveling, visiting places I'd only ever dreamed of: sun-drenched beaches, vibrant cities, where inspiration loomed at every corner. I encountered new people along the way, kindred spirits who shared their own tales of resilience. We laughed together, exchanged wisdom, and the warmth of connection surged through me with a renewed sense of hope. I felt alive, no longer bound by the shadows of my past, and truly began to appreciate the magic of embracing each moment. Life became an adventure, and within it, I flourished. Each day dawned with promise, no longer a prisoner of my history, but a strong woman stepping into her future. Mark and Sarah were memories, lessons carved into my spirit, but they would no longer define me. I had taken the worst moments of my life and turned them into stepping stones toward a new beginning. And as I looked around me, the garden in full bloom and laughter ringing through my heart, I knew that the power to reclaim my joy came from within, nourished by the seeds of truth I had planted. My new life was waiting, beautiful, vibrant, and entirely my own. Months unfolded like petals in bloom, each bringing renewed life and fresh possibilities. My existence had transformed into an intricate tapestry of resilience, colored vividly by hope and self-discovery. The weight of my past slowly lifted, replaced by the promise of what lay ahead. One afternoon, as I tended my garden, I noticed a familiar bloom emerging, a flower thought lost to the winter frost. Kneeling down, I felt a surge of joy. This flower, like me, had found a way to thrive amidst adversity. In a world so often focused on the struggles, I realized beauty could blossom when we refused to give up. Weeks flowed into months, and I poured my heart into building my marketing business. Each new client brought fresh inspiration, igniting my creativity and allowing me to craft messages steeped in authenticity. I embraced opportunities that came my way, determined to create a work environment rooted in respect and integrity. Then, one afternoon, the phone rang. It was a representative from a charitable organization interested in sharing stories of resilience. Their invitation sent a ripple of excitement through me. Here was my chance to convey my journey and inspire others who felt shackled by their own struggles. I hesitated only briefly, then accepted, realizing that sharing my truth could empower those still trapped in darkness. As I participated in interviews, clarity blossomed. My story transformed from a narrative of survival into one of triumph, the strength found in vulnerability shining brightly. I encountered many individuals during the process, but one stood out: Amelia, a woman wrestling with her own past. Our shared stories felt like a gentle thread binding us, opening doors to friendship. Together, we recognized our potential to impact others who had endured similar pain. The idea sparked between us a series of workshops designed to empower women reclaiming their lives after betrayal. Excitement coursed through us as we envisioned a community of support, a safe space for sharing experiences and building strength. We held our first meeting, gathering women from all walks of life, each bringing tales of struggle interwoven with resilience. At that initial gathering, we listened intently as stories flowed like a river, emotions mingling in the air: grief, anger, and ultimately hope. I witnessed transformations unfold before my eyes as women discovered their voices, shedding tears of sorrow while exchanging laughter and encouragement. We created a nurturing environment where healing began to flourish, each woman illuminated by newfound self-worth. One particularly vibrant autumn evening came to mark the culmination of our first series. The room glowed with warmth and connection as friends gathered. I felt a swell of pride as I surveyed the faces in the crowd, each radiating strength and resilience. "We are creating something remarkable here," I started, my heart full as I addressed the group. I looked deep into their eyes as I spoke, realizing how far I had come. I was no longer defined by the betrayal of Mark or Sarah, but instead I embodied a spirit reborn from the ashes of despair. Each woman present was a testament to courage, and together we forged an unbreakable bond. As the laughter rang out and camaraderie flourished, I felt buoyed by the love that filled the room. In a shared moment of reflection, I reminded them that resilience doesn't negate struggles. Rather, it allows us to rise together. That evening was not just a celebration, but a reminder that authentic connection can heal even the deepest wounds. In the days that followed, our workshops continued to grow, garnering interest from a wider audience. Women poured in, eager to share and learn. Each gathering reaffirmed my belief in the importance of community. We forged friendships, each relationship nourished by shared vulnerability, the foundation of our collective strength. Inspired, I began drafting a book chronicling my journey, a compilation of my experiences woven with those of my fellow warriors. I envisioned a work rich with stories of triumph, filled with lessons learned amid struggle. As the words flowed from my heart, I could see the potential for healing radiating from our stories. With each passing chapter, I recognized the power of collective experiences. I invited women from our workshops to contribute their tales alongside mine, each a vital thread in this tapestry of resilience. Together, we birthed a project telling not only of our pain, but of our remarkable growth and transformation. When I settled down each night, exhaustion wrapped around me like an embrace, I felt fulfilled. I reflected on how far I had come. The woman who had once sat in silence, beleaguered by betrayal, was now a vibrant force born of experience, standing tall and determined. The months passed, and I found myself at peace. My home became a sanctuary filled with laughter and light, the garden bursting with blooms reflecting my own journey out of darkness. Each color spoke of my resilience, my ability to rise again and flourish in a world that had once seemed so dim. I savored those moments of solitude, walking barefoot across soft grass, the scent of jasmine wrapping around me, nurturing my spirit. As I drifted off to sleep that night, I felt utterly free. For the first time in years, I could embrace this new chapter of my life with open arms. I was living in truth, guided by the lessons learned through hardship, ready to explore the expansive horizon filled with endless possibilities. My journey continued, no longer tethered to the past, but soaring toward a future I now had the courage to shape. If you need any further revisions, feel free to ask. As the months unfolded, I dove deeper into the community we had formed through our workshops. Each session hummed with energy and empowerment, women sharing their experiences and laughter, weaving a tapestry of support that enveloped us. We didn't just meet to heal, we came together to thrive in our collective resilience. One evening, as I prepared for a particularly special workshop, nervous anticipation bubbled in my stomach. Tonight, we were hosting a panel of local women who had triumphed over significant adversities. Their stories were beacons of hope that could ignite sparks in those still navigating their challenges. I glanced at myself in the mirror, the reflection of a woman transformed, stronger, radiant, and filled with purpose. Once at the venue, a gentle buzz of chatter filled the air as women entered, their presence igniting warmth in the room. I exchanged knowing smiles with Amelia, our silent connection reminding me of the bond we had forged through our shared journeys. The workshop began with introductions, palpable excitement electrifying the atmosphere. Our panelists, 4 incredible women, took their seats, ready to share their stories of survival. As they spoke, the room listened intently, their words flowing like a powerful current filled with emotions, laughter mingling with tears. They illustrated their battles and victories, reminding us that the path to healing wasn't always straightforward. One woman recounted her escape from an abusive relationship, stating, "I embraced my imperfections. The cracks allowed the light to shine through." The room burst into applause, and I felt a sense of unity wash over us. We were not just spectators of her journey. We were witnesses to our connection, proudly reflecting each other's strength. As the evening progressed, attendees began to share their stories, their vulnerability transforming the room into a sanctuary of healing. I watched transfixed as women revealed their pasts, each narrative reinforcing our shared experience. We laughed, cried, and offered support, recognizing the strength that emerged through honesty. Days later, a message arrived from a woman who attended the panel. "Thank you for inspiring me to leave my toxic relationship. I am beginning to reclaim my power." Her words reverberated in my heart, affirming the impact our gatherings had begun to generate. Moments like these reminded me why I embraced this path in the first place. Our workshops continued to flourish, and demand surged for online sessions. We decided to expand our reach, embodying the idea that healing should know no bounds. I felt a rush of exhilaration at the prospect of creating a digital space where women could come together, sharing their stories no matter where they were. In preparation, I developed a structured curriculum filled with interactive elements, journaling, guided meditations, and resources for self-discovery. I felt awakened by the thought of touching lives across distant horizons, nurturing a broader community united in empowerment. Simultaneously, I immersed myself in writing my collaborative book, filled with stories of resilience. I invited women from our workshops to contribute, each narrative adding depth and texture to our shared experiences. It grew into a vibrant collection, documenting not just our pain, but our powerful journeys of transformation. With every passing day, I felt a sense of fulfillment wash over me. I reflected on how far I had come, once a silent victim now transformed into a powerful advocate and supporter for others. My home radiated laughter and light, my garden bursting with vibrant blooms echoing my own reclaimed spirit. In quiet moments, I walked barefoot across the soft grass, the scent of jasmine and blooming roses wrapping around me, nurturing my soul. It was as if nature conspired with my journey, reflecting the beauty that comes with resilience and growth. As I settled down each night, exhaustion mingled with accomplishment. I often thought of the women we had connected with and the lives we were touching. You may have tried to destroy my sense of self, but the truth has freed me, I murmured softly to the whispers of the night. Those words resonated within me, the foundation upon which my newfound strength stood. Then, one late afternoon, as the sun cast golden rays across my garden, I found myself truly envisioning the future. I saw not only the women I had empowered, but also all the lives yet to be touched by our stories. Each flower blossoming in my garden mirrored the hope flourishing in their hearts. Through the act of sharing, we were on the brink of something monumental. I grabbed my notebook, scribbling ideas for our next workshop series, a journey through reclaiming joy amidst adversity. The thought filled me with joy. I was ready to guide others toward their own revelations. With renewed purpose, I envisioned expansive horizons before me, bursting with promise and potential. I was not just living life, I was thriving in it. I moved forward with the knowledge that we were all capable of blossoming through our darkness, and together we could cultivate a world where resilience reigned. These reflections illuminated my nights, filling my dreams with visions of transformation. I awoke each morning ready to embrace the unfolding of new chapters, an adventure that expanded beyond my garden, where I continued to nurture not just plants, but a thriving community of empowered women reclaiming their lives. In this new life, I no longer merely survived. I flourished, weaving beauty and strength into each day. As spring unfurled its vibrant palette, my garden thrived, mirroring my own journey of resilience. Flowers bloomed in radiant colors, each petal a testimony of perseverance. The warmth of the sun wrapped around me, uplifting my spirit and whispering promises of new beginnings. I could feel the excitement that lay ahead, ripe with possibilities, and I was ready to embrace it fully. Our workshops flourished, with participation growing as women heard about our mission. Each session became a space of empowerment, where stories of struggle transformed into narratives of hope. I took joy in witnessing the blossoming of confidence within each woman, as they connected with one another over shared experiences. One Thursday evening, I received a message from Linda, who had recently joined our group. "Can I join your next workshop? I want to share my story," she wrote. her words filled with trepidation yet touched with hope. Excitement surged through me. Linda's story could inspire others, just as mine had once sparked something within her. That night, a vision formed in my mind for our upcoming session, a focus on storytelling, the immense power of sharing our truths. Each woman's narrative could light the way for others, illuminating paths toward healing and self-acceptance. During the workshop, I guided them through deep breathing and grounding exercises, creating a serene atmosphere for reflection. Tonight, we come together to listen to each other and to ourselves, I said softly. Our stories are vital, and each voice adds a note to our collective song of healing. Once we opened the floor, the air grew thick with emotion as women spoke. Linda was among them, her nerves palpable, yet her resolve shining through. Sharing her experience of betrayal and loss, she found strength in her vulnerability. "Today, I choose to stand tall and embrace my truth," she declared, and the room erupted into applause, a tidal wave of support crashing over her like a warm embrace. The weeks passed and our workshops evolved, becoming rich gatherings of shared narratives. Friendships formed, bonds deepening as women discovered that within their struggles lay a shared humanity. Each woman was a warrior, crafting a community where healing thrived. One evening, we embraced the idea of a storytelling open mic night. The anticipation in the room was electric. I transformed our usual setting into a cozy space adorned with fairy lights, inviting laughter and connection. As I opened the night with my own story, threading moments of pain with newfound strength, I felt pride swell within me. When Linda stepped up to speak, I could hardly contain my excitement. Her words flowed freely, describing her journey through darkness and toward self-love. "Through sharing, I find my voice," she said, and applause filled the room once more. I saw tears of joy and empathy in many eyes. We were bound together in our experiences. As the open mic continued, we heard tales of struggle and triumph. Each voice joined the chorus, collectively resonating with strength and hope. It struck me how transformative our gatherings had become, a community where healing and empowerment intertwined seamlessly. As weeks rolled on, we expanded our mission, opening our workshops to women in local shelters. I reached out to community centers, eager to create spaces where every woman could find a voice. "Let's take this beyond our walls," I envisioned, thrilled by the prospect of sparking change. Soon, we organized a special event in collaboration with a community shelter, focusing on healing through creativity and storytelling. On the day of the event, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement. Women gathered, eager to express themselves through art and shared experiences. As they painted canvases, I watched their faces light up, a release of emotions wrapped in strokes of color. In our circle, we shared our truths, lives intertwining through laughter and tears. "We're stitching together our stories," I marveled, feeling the warmth of our collective resilience envelop us all. Concluding with a reflection circle, each woman voiced hopes and dreams born from their experiences. I could see us crafting more than a community. We were creating a movement, one that celebrated the beauty of vulnerability and the courage it takes to reclaim one's story. As the day ended, I walked back home, my heart swelling with purpose. We were sowing seeds of change together, creating a legacy that would resonate beyond our immediate experiences. Each woman, with her story, continued to add depth to our shared fabric of resilience. That night, I sat in my garden, the faint scent of blooming jasmine filling the air. I reflected on the journey ahead, on the countless lives yet to be touched. I felt invigorated, ready to guide others on their paths toward reclamation and joy. In this vibrant new life, each day became an opportunity for growth, for connection, and for celebrating the beauty that arises from shared experience. We were thriving together, nurturing each other's resilience, championing a world where vulnerability was met with strength. Through our stories, we were turning past trials into seeds of hope, inviting all who needed it to join us on this ever-expanding journey of empowerment.